So hello there, this is Kerry, CEO of the Holistic Highway, and I want to introduce you to somebody really special to me. Her name is Dr. Carol Greco. She's clinical psychologist and researcher, also associate professor of psychiatry at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. So she's my colleague at UPMC Center for Integrative Medicine, where she's a licensed psychologist and research director. So besides all those credentials, why am I talking to Carol today? Well, besides being in a program with us at the Holistic Highway, she studies mind-body methods for managing stress. And that seems so important right now as I've been talking to Carol, that I really wanted to sort of get her expertise and sort of have her bring her expertise and talk to you about sort of meditation and mindfulness practices. So I'm going to jump right in now, Carol, and ask you about meditation. And we sort of bandy that word around and say things like, you should meditate daily, and, have you tried meditation? Because I know it would be good for you. But, what is meditation?
Sure. And I love it when, it's like, you should meditate. Like, it's such a wonderful thing to say to someone, right? But what is meditation? I agree with you that word is thrown around all the time. And I guess the best I can come up with is a form of training, kind of like practice or activity that typically involves focusing the attention and developing, a greater sense of clarity about what's actually happening right now. Okay. Much of the time we can be sort of pulled by our thoughts and our worries and not even actually know where we are or how we're feeling in any given moment. So meditation is a practice that helps you to, actually to cultivate present moment focus.
Great. So what are some of the benefits? I mean, why is it that people say, oh, you should meditate right now, or meditation will be really good for you? Why? What does it do?
Yeah, well, and as a researcher, I am very happy to report that there is a pretty good evidence base for many kinds of meditation for improving health and symptoms of chronic illness and improving pain and such like that. But what do I find most people tell me, when I do teach meditation? And often it's associated with, greater feelings of calm, feeling relaxed, but not always. Sometimes when you pay attention to the present moment, what you notice is that you're agitated. Mm-hmm. So that we're not trying to get rid of that. I think another really important benefit is learning how to be more kind toward ourselves and other people, and maybe a little less judgmental, which is a wonderful benefit, I feel. I would say one of the more common things that folks tell me as they take the meditation classes with me is that they become less reactive to the stressors that are an inevitable part of life. That maybe they meet them with a little more ability to kind of pause and make a choice about how to respond. So I think that's a huge benefit, especially at this time with the current challenges. And I guess one thing else that I'd like to say, meditation is not just about meeting challenges differently, perhaps with greater flexibility and openness, but also to know that there's a lot of beauty and joy available to us that we might sort of not notice because we, often are so kind of caught up in the more challenging aspects of life. So meditation can help you to be more open to that as well.
I love that. That's really nice. And just to sort of let you guys know, so Carol for the past 15 years has actually taught a course, an 8-week course, I should say, called Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. And this program, it does have a lot of sort of mindfulness meditation, as well as sort of discussioning and bringing that mindfulness into sort of everyday living, into all the things that you can do. So it's a very applicable course. And she says that many participants find that they then become less reactive to stress. So you're not quite as triggered quite as much when they practice sort of meditation and mindfulness. And really at this time during the coronavirus pandemic, I mean, this is wonderful. And she's been offering a weekly free online meditation sessions via Zoom on Monday evenings. I'll make sure you have that link too. So that'll be part of this so that you can join her there if you want to. But Carol, so we sort of touched a little bit, why might meditation be especially good for now, but what are the benefits of that right now?
Well, I guess what I would say is like, and I've certainly experienced it myself, it feels like there's like a higher baseline level of stress just in general. So even if you're healthy, your family's healthy, everybody still has their job, etc., we're still feeling the suffering of everybody. And also, if we, to whatever extent we read the news, or listen to it, we might feel more stressed. And also the rug has been pulled out from everybody's schedule, and that sort of structure of our lives being a little less tethered to our typical schedules can be really disruptive. And so I would say that, at least for me, I think that, the practice of meditation, especially if you can kind of do it on a regular basis, it can actually help you to feel a little more grounded, a little more able to face whatever your situation is with some care and kindness. And it can be a part of whatever a structured routine that you can build for yourself. And I know, Kerry, with your holistic highway work in the Ayurveda, that's an important part of how we we work with our current situation. Yeah.
Definitely it is. And I like that. And meditation, definitely. I mean, I'm guilty of also saying, oh, take 10 minutes for yourself to meditate, and then not exactly sort of explaining what that is.
Yeah.
And one of the things I do hear a lot from my clients is, oh, I tried meditation, it doesn't work. I can't just sit there and not think. And, it is hard to just stop thinking. So Carol, do we have to stop thinking in meditation? And if we do, how can you possibly do that?
I love it. That's actually, I would say, one of the myths, is that meditation means you have a blank mind, that you're not thinking, and that you're just this clear, calm being or whatever. And honestly, in the kind that I teach, is that we're basically, as human beings, we're going to think, we're going to have a wandering mind. Sometimes it's going to be like a tree full of monkeys up there. And so what we do as we practice is we notice that the mind is really busy, and then we invite that wandering mind to come back to something that's actually available in our senses, like the senses of the feeling of breath in the body, or the sensation at the bottom of our feet, or something like that. So it's really more about gathering that wandering mind back in a very kind and non-judgmental, gentle way. So, but it's not a goal to get rid of thinking. It's actually a goal to be present with whatever is going on with us. If that makes any sense. So we're not striving to get a clear mind. Sometimes it does tend to stabilize, though, over time.
Yeah, that does make sense. But when I've heard before, sort of, oh, you're just going to stop thinking, it's like, well, that doesn't happen. So consequently, people sort of get very sort of agitated with it, or frustrated with it, I should say.
Yeah.
And then it's like, try that, been there, done that, doesn't work.
Yeah.
But, and I've also heard, some people say, yeah, I can't keep my mind still, but if I focus on something, it helps. Or if I do a walking meditation, or I do a guided meditation, and it's like, there seems to be 50 million flavors of meditation. How many different ways of meditating are there?
Wow, that's a big question. I don't know. I mean, I would say a lot, but you mentioned some things that I think are particularly helpful, is focusing on something. So focusing on something that's actually happening with you is, a mindfulness method would be just focusing on your breath, focusing on physical sensations or sound. I'm glad you also mentioned guided meditation, because there are many, many guided meditations that are available free online, through apps. Sometimes it's hard to know, which ones are going to be most beneficial for you, but they can be really helpful in sort of helping the person to, once again, kind of aim back towards towards the present moment. There's many, spiritual traditions, but in terms of a secular audience and the people that might be listening to this, I definitely would recommend trying some different guided ones, or an app on your smartphone. There are many. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you know if you're doing it right? I mean, is there a right way or a wrong way to meditate?
Yeah.
We're sort of very goal-oriented,
I
Carol.
know, yeah, and that's the
I got to
thing.
do it right. But what does that mean, doing it
I
right?
hear that a lot. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? And then, of course, by the second week in the class, everybody's very interested to know, are they doing it right? And they also want to know, how come it's not transforming my life yet? It's been a whole week, right? So, so I'd like to say there's really no way to do it wrong, you know, as long as you're paying attention, okay? And so what you might notice when you try these methods is that I feel agitated, and then my mind starts to, you know, I start to hear this voice saying, you're doing it wrong. And then I notice how I feel in my body. And so as long as you're paying attention, and as best as you can, perhaps even disengaging from that judgmentalness that we often carry with us. That's wrong, that's right. It's just, it's all okay. It's all here. Let me be present with myself as I am, with this mind and body that it's here right now.
I like
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, so in a sense, there's not, I do think though that it does help to kind of let yourself be in stillness if you're deciding to practice meditation, like, you know, let yourself be still in your body, and sometimes even closing your eyes can be helpful. But even those things don't, you know, they aren't the only way to practice. And I'd
Okay.
also like to say that, you know, in terms of working with stress, as we all know that there's many ways. So meditation is not the thing for everybody. You know, maybe it's sometimes we need exercise, we need rest, whatever. So,
Great. So, for those of us that meditation does work for, I mean, how can we make meditation part of our daily routine? I mean, is it that, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning, you sit there cross-legged chanting Om, and that's the right time? Or is it just before you go to bed so you sleep well? I mean, you have all these images of sort of the monk sort of staring off far away over the Himalayas, and that's meditation. But how do you actually make it accessible and part of your daily routine?
oh yeah, so I love that question, and we can have so many images of what's the, like, again, the right way to do it. You have to wear spandex and sit cross-legged, you know, whatever. But no. So how do, if we decide that that's something we want to do, what can you do to set up the conditions so that you actually might really be able to concentrate and have a little more clarity of your mind? I think, you know, just maybe starting off with making a decision. What am I going to try? What am I going to play with? How about first thing in the morning? One of the things that I often suggest to people is to pair that time to set and be still with something they already like doing. You know, so if they enjoy the cup of tea, so the meditation period and the cup of tea, you know, you have your tea, you take a couple sips, and then you do your meditation, so that it's kind of paired with something you already like, which is going to reinforce the possibility of continuing it.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as what you like is not watching Netflix, huh? It doesn't work then.
That's a good point.
So, Carol, so let's put this into practice here. I mean, you very kindly offered two things for us, to walk us through a sort of simple meditation right now, and a longer one that we're going to sort of record separately so that people can just do that by themselves a bit longer. So, but right now, is there, you know, walk us through just a simple meditation.
Sure, sure. So what I'm going to do is the thing that I'm going to guide us in is just something that a person could do on a moment's notice. It's not known as formal meditation, but it's actually utilizing the wisdom of our body and our breath to help us to be grounded. So I'll just give a couple of instructions, and then so it'll just take a moment or two. So just beginning by, if you'd like to, you know, maybe letting your eyes be closed or even just a little bit open, but sort of unfocused in front of you, and maybe even letting your spine be relatively straight, and gathering your attention to something that's actually here in your body. So for most folks, the breath is very available for that. And so just beginning to gather your attention to any sensations of breathing. And maybe as you do that, you can kind of feel, maybe right at your nostrils, how the air feels as it comes in, as it goes out. And we're not trying to get anywhere, make anything happen, but you're simply observing something that's already here. Just kind of exploring the breath sensations. And it's okay to just let the breath be as it is. No need to manage it or control it. Really feeling, if you'd like to, the entire in-breath and the whole out-breath. When the attention wanders, which it will, just maybe imagine that you could just, just gently escort that wandering mind back to the breath. The breath can be like an anchoring line to the present moment. That breath helping us to come home to what's true for us and what's really here right now in the body, physically, what's here. And maybe acknowledging how you're feeling in terms of emotions or moods, just simply being present for yourself, whatever you're feeling. And if you'd like to, maybe acknowledging the ending of this brief mindfulness practice by taking in a little bit deeper breath, really feeling that energy that comes in. And as you let that breath go, just really feeling how the body already knows how to let go. There's so much wisdom, how to let go. We already know how to do it.
Oh, that was wonderful, Carol. I already feel so much more calm for just doing that. And that you can do anywhere at any time. So that's wonderful. Carol, this is great. This is so helpful right now, especially at this time. But hopefully people take advantage of this, not just at this time, but then it becomes a practice that they can use forevermore. It's a tool in our toolbox. As I said, Carol has offered to do a longer meditation practice for us, so check us out there. And Carol, thank you so much, love. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.